Good morning, students. From today, we shall continue the remaining syllabus of English grammar. So, let's see. In today's video, I shall explain you lesson 24. Topic of the lesson is punctuation. So, let's see about the punctuation. First of all, let's see the introduction. What is punctuation? So, punctuation are the marks basically. Let's see. Punctuation marks are signals when to pause, stop, or change the tone of voice to make the meaning clear of the speech. So whenever we speak, so we have to take a pause sometimes, we have to stop, we have to change the tone of the voice as well. And for that, at the time of speaking, we use the punctuation marks. You cannot do this when you write, so we can show the stoppage, we can show the pause, we can show the change of voice when we are speaking, but when we are writing we cannot show it. So for showing this we have to use some punctuation marks. So when writing you must use punctuation marks such as commas and question marks to make your meaning clear. So at the time of writing we use some marks like full stop, question mark. These are the punctuation marks to show these kind of stop, pause, or change of voice, and to make the meaning clear of the speech as well. Now let's see how many types of punctuation marks are there. We will discuss about it. First one is full stop. So it is the easiest mark. The full stop is added at the end of a sentence. It is also added after abbreviations for titles and degrees. So basically whenever we speak, when the sentence is completed, we stop at that time. We use a full stop in writing, and that is called the punctuation mark. And it is also used in abbreviations as well. Abbreviations are the short forms of the titles and degrees. Examples you can say, today is the coolest day of the season. So it is a sentence. When we complete it, we will use the full stop. Second example you can say, B.Ed, that is abbreviation, MPhil is also abbreviation, and UNO is also abbreviation. B.Ed is Bachelor of Education, MPhil is Master of Philosophy, and UNO is United Nations Organization. So for making the abbreviations as well, we have used the full stops. Now let's see the next punctuation mark, that is question mark. So a question mark is used at the end of a question. Whenever we ask a question, so at the end of that question we use the question mark. Example you can see, why are you staring at me? What is the time? And at the end of these questions we have used question marks, which is a punctuation mark. Next punctuation mark is exclamation. Here you can see, which is called Vismayadi Bodhak Chin in Hindi. So what is the use of exclamation mark? Let's see. It is used at the end of an exclamatory sentence. So you all know that exclamatory is a type of sentence where we use our sudden and strong feelings. So with exclamatory sentences we use exclamation mark and with an interjection as well. Interjection is also kind of words which is used to express sudden strong feelings. So basically with exclamatory sentence or with interjection which expresses sudden strong feelings, we use exclamation mark. Example you can say, bravo, very well played indeed. So here bravo means shabash. It is showing the strong emotion that someone is giving, shabashi to someone. Second one you can see with words like what and how to express strong emotions. So basically what and how, these are the question words. But when we use what and how to express our strong emotions, then we use exclamation mark with it. Here in the example you can see, how lovely it is to meet you. So it is showing that it is very lovely to meet you. That's why we have used exclamation mark here. Second sentence you can see, what a wonderful painting. Here it is showing that someone is praising someone, what a wonderful painting, and that's why we have used an exclamation mark here. Except that at the end of a funny or an ironic sentence or a sentence expressing coincidence. So if a sentence is funny or it is ironic, or if a sentence is expressing coincidence, we also use exclamation mark with those kind of sentences. Example, you can see she was at the coffee shop today as well. That means it is a coincidence that today also she was at the coffee shop, and that's why we have used an exclamation mark here. Second example is the tool wobbled. Wobbled means ढीला होना. The tool wobbled and before she knew it, she was on the floor. That means she did not know that the tool was wobbling and she was on the floor. So it is showing an ironic sentence. So next type of punctuation mark is comma. A comma looks like that. Let's see the usage of comma. To separate a series of words, phrases or clauses in a sentence. When we have to separate a series of words, a series of phrases or a series of clauses in a sentence, we use comma to separate them. Example, you can see we bought eggs, bread, baking powder and skimmed milk for the cooking. So here we have separated the series of words like eggs and bread, which are the eatable things. We have separated them with a comma here. Second use is to separate a noun used for addressing someone from the rest of the sentence. So if a noun which is addressing someone, so to separate that kind of noun from the rest of the sentence, we use comma. This also applies to words like yes, no and o. So if in a sentence we are using the words like yes, no and o, you must have seen obviously that we use comma after yes and no. So we use comma to separate these words from the rest of the sentence. Like example, you can see Rachel put those books on the table. So here Rachel is a noun and which is used to address someone. We are addressing to Rachel. That's why we have separated it by a comma. Second one is yes, I have placed the order for the new book. So here we have separated yes from the rest of the sentence by using the comma. Next use is to separate expressions that are in opposition. Opposition means similarity. If any expression that is in similarity of a noun, we use to separate it by using a comma. Example, you can see the academy felicitated. Felicitated means honored Steven Spielberg, the famous director. So here the famous director is the expression that is used in opposition of Steven Spielberg. Who is the famous director? Steven Spielberg, and we have separated it by a comma. Fourth one is to separate question tags from the rest of the sentence. So we have seen the sentences by using the question tags when we have to confirm that the question is correct or not. So to separate the question tags, we use the comma. Here you can see the example, he is too big for his boots. Isn't he? Someone is asking that he is too big for his boots. So here we have separated the question tag with a comma. Next use is to separate the actual words of the speaker from the rest of the sentence in the direct speech. So you all have seen the direct speech and the indirect speech as well. So when we have to separate the actual words of the speaker from the rest of the sentence in direct speech, we use a comma. So basically when we have to separate reporting verb or reported speech, we use a comma, because these are the actual words spoken by someone and this is the reporting verb. So we have separated it with a comma. Next use is to separate one part of the date from the other. When we have to separate one part of date from the other, we use a comma. Here you can see the example, May 7, 1961. So we have separated the sun by using a comma here. Next kind of punctuation mark is semicolon, which looks like this. So what is the use? Let's see. A semicolon is used to indicate a list. When we have to indicate a list, we use a semicolon. Through the example, you can understand it better. 3 things make us human. So basically we are presenting three things which make us human, and the things are our compassion, compassion means sahanubhuti, our creativity and our strength. So we have used a semicolon here. Three things make us human: our compassion, our creativity and our strength. Next kind of punctuation mark is dash, which looks like this. So what is the use? Let's see. In pairs to insert an explanation in the middle of a sentence. This is extra information and the sentence would make complete sense without it. So basically when we are inserting additional explanation in the middle of a sentence, we use a dash there. If we do not use these kind of extra explanation, then also the sentence would make a complete sense. So example, you can see the process as described by Archimedes involved the use of giant pulleys. So if we will remove this one extra explanation, that is as described by Archimedes, then also the sentence would make a sense. It will be the process involved the use of giant pulleys. So we have given additional information here by saying that the process as described by Archimedes involved the use of giant pulleys. Next use is to introduce a list. When we have to introduce a list, we use a dash. Everyone. Who is in the list of everyone? That is teachers, students and parents approved the new things for extracurricular activities. So here we have shown the list of teachers, students and parents, and that's why we have used a dash here. Next kind of punctuation mark is hyphen. So it looks like dash, but its use is different. Let's see the use with compound words, numbers and adjectives. When we have to make a compound word, number or adjective, we use a hyphen. Compound word means a word which is made from more than two or one word. Example, you can see passers by. So to make a compound word, here we have used a hyphen. 31, it is number. So again here we have used hyphen, and then state of the art. It is an adjective, and when we have used more than one word here, we have used a hyphen here. Second use is to add a prefix to a word. When we have to add a prefix to a word, we use hyphen sometimes. Example, you can see cooperative. Here we have used a prefix which is co, and after co we have used a hyphen here. Second one is postmodern. Post is a prefix and we have used a hyphen here. Next kind of punctuation mark is apostrophe. It looks like this. So what is the use of apostrophe? Let's see. To indicate the possessive form of a noun. Possessive form means when we have to show the belonging of a noun, that the things belong to whom, we use apostrophe at that time to show the possessiveness. So example, you can see Mary's dress, that the dress is of Mary. Children's day, whose day? Children's day. Second use is to form contraction. Contractions are also called the short forms. Like if we have to use he is, we will use his. If we have to use would not, we will write wouldn't. To make these kind of contractions, we use apostrophe. Example, you can see he is happy. So it is written he is happy here. It's a lovely day. That means it is a lovely day. Third use is to denote units of time, money and space. So when we are denoting units of time, money and space, we use apostrophe with these kind of words. A day's journey, a meter's length. Next kind of punctuation mark is inverted commas. So basically you have seen these kind of inverted commas when you have done direct and indirect speech. So let's see the use of this one. To mark off the words of the speaker from the rest of the sentence in direct speech. So when we have to mark the words of the speaker from the rest of the sentence, we use the inverted commas. Like here you can see Raj said. What Raj said? It has been a while since we met. So we kept these words in inverted commas. Second use is to denote names of name of poems, and short stories. When we are naming the poems and short stories, we keep them in inverted commas. Example, you can see, have you read Where the Mind is Without Fear by Tagore? So basically it is the name of a poem where the mind is without fear, and we have kept it in inverted commas. Next kind of punctuation mark is capital letters. So what is the use of capital letters? Let's see. For proper nouns, when we write proper nouns, we write them with a capital letter. Here what is the proper noun? That is Sachin Tendulkar, London, the Himalayas. Second use is to begin the words of the speaker in direct speech. So whenever we begin the words of the speaker in direct speech, we use a capital letter for it. Here you can see Karthik said. What is the speech given by Karthik? That it is going to rain in the evening. So that's why I is capital here. Next use is at the beginning of sentences. So whenever we start a sentence, we always start with a capital letter. That is a general rule. Tolstoy is one of the greatest writers of all time. Next use is to write the pronoun I. Whenever we write the pronoun I, means मैं, we always write it with a capital letter. If we are writing a single I, that means pronoun. Example, you can see, my brother and I are going on a trip to Ladakh. We never write I in small letters. Next use is for the first letter of each line in a poem. Whenever we are writing a poem, each line of the poem will be started with the capital letter. Example is, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. So in both lines, it is started with the capital letter. Next use is when we write the titles of books, stories or essays, we capitalize all the words except the articles, prepositions and conjunctions in the middle of the name. So whenever we write the title of books, the title of stories or essays, we always capitalize all the words except the articles. If there is article, there is prepositions and there is conjunctions in the name of book, in the name of story or in the name of any essay, we do not capitalize these articles, prepositions and conjunctions, and except that every word should be capitalized. Example, you can see, the god of small things. Here of is preposition, that's why we haven't capitalized it, and we have written all the words with the capital letter. So next one is the blue umbrella. It is clear that all the words are capitalized. Here you will say that though is article, but why is it capitalized? Because it is not coming in the middle. When the article, when the preposition and conjunction is coming in the middle, then we do not capitalize it. Otherwise, if it is coming in the starting, obviously it will be started with the capital letter. Next use is for titles of people. So whenever we are writing the titles of people, we start with the capital letter. Mr. Barrett, Miss Mishra, Dr. Saha. Next use is for names of buildings, bridges and monuments. So whenever we name the building, bridge or monument, we start it with the capital letter. Example can be seen here, the Howrah Bridge, the Eiffel Tower, the Taj Mahal. So basically these are the types of punctuation marks, and I have explained you the use of each punctuation mark. I hope everything is clear to all of you. Thank you everyone.